this book been all of my life? I feel like I have lost my life that I have not been connected with a book like this. These are people who are not even part of the madhab of the Ahlul Bayt, yet they cherish and understand the gems that the Imams have left for us. Nahjul Balagha, for example, George Jordak, you can look this up, is a famous Lebanese Christian who writes the famous book As-Sawtul Adalat al-Ijtama'iyya, a book about Amirul Mu'mineen, where he praises Imam Ali and his justice. He mentions that I have looked at Nahjul Balagha over 200 times. 200 times. Yet when I look at myself, have I even looked at Nahjul Balagha? Have I opened it, read it from cover to cover even once? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves, that how much are we connected to these books? So this was the fourth point that we wanted to mention, that the Imam, through the power of dua, was able to spread the message of Islam. Number 5 is an interesting one. The Imam, through jihad was able to spread the message. Now, you're wondering, the Imam, jihad, we haven't never heard of this. After Ashura, where was there jihad from the Imam? You see, when you look at the concept of jihad, it is not just limited to a physical war where we come out with our weapons. Jihad is more than this. Jihad is more than this. One of the jihads is the jihad of tabyin, of trying to explain and clarify things. The Imam, through this jihad, was able to show, like we mentioned, who the oppressor is and who the Ahlul Bayt truly are. And it's sad to see that sometimes, like I mentioned, when we look into the books that describe the history of the Ahlul Bayt, the biographies of the Ahlul Bayt, of the Imams, or for example, we explore different articles, this is a point that is very less mentioned. Like I said, we think of the Imams in this aspect, that the Imams were madloom, but no. Explore and look at how the Imams would stand up against the oppressors of their time. So for instance, once our fourth Imam goes for Hajj, and as he approaches, it just so happens that the tyrant of his time, Abdul Malik, is inside, and he's told his soldiers that do not allow anybody to enter. It's my time and I will be doing tawaf by myself. The Imam enters and pays no heed to this, and he starts doing tawaf. Abdul Malik is enraged and he's angry. Who is this person? He turns around to his soldiers and says, who is this person who's come in and is doing tawaf? I said nobody's allowed to do tawaf. They turn to him and say that this is Ali ibn al-Hussein. He says, call him after he's done and I want to meet him. The Imam finishes his tawaf and he is brought in the presence of Abdul Malik. Abdul Malik ibn Marwan turns to Imam and he says to him that, why is it that you are acting like this with regards to us? I wasn't the one who killed your father. Why are you acting like this? The Imam says to him, and look at now how he speaks up. These are the sons of Haydar. Look at how he speaks back to the oppressor of his time. He says to him that the tyrant who killed my father thought that by doing so he took away the dunya from him. But in doing so, the Imam, my father, was able to attain the akhirah. You too understand that if you were to do the same, if you were to do dhulm to me, then the consequences are the same for you. The same end that he had, you have as well. Abdul Malik is listening to Imam speaking back to him. This is the oppressor, but he's also the king of his time, the Khalifa. He says to Imam that, no, this is, maybe you've got it mistaken. This is not our aim. In fact, I wanted to offer to you, look, we have a lot of wealth, and I know that you're doing a lot of good things. Allow us to help you in these efforts of yours. We have a lot of money we can share with you. Again, look how the Imam turns. He makes a dua, he puts his hands to the sky and he asks Allah, and when his hands come down, Abdul Malik sees inside the robe of the Imam is filled with pearls and gems and jewels. He's surprised, where did all of these things come from? Again, the Imam makes a dua and says, Allah, take these away from me, I don't need them, and these pearls disappear. The Imam is showing him that, look, you think that by you saying these things, you'll be able to humiliate the Ahlul Bayt. We come from the maktab of hayhat minna dhillah. The same message that my father stood for. You will never be able to humiliate us. You think the dunya is yours, the dunya is ours, and the akhirah is ours. If we want, we're able to procure these things. The Imam is telling the tyrant of his time, the oppressor, and look at how he speaks back to him. So these were the 5 points that we wanted to mention. I want to share one hadith with you from our Imam as well as a gift, and we can try and inshallah see the lessons that we can learn from it. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, please recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajah. He mentions this hadith. He says that the Holy Prophet has said, Inna ahabbal a'mali ilallahi azza wa jal, the most beloved of actions in the eyes of Allah is what? Idkhalus surur ala al-mu'minin. Making the mu'mineen, the believers, happy. Making the believers happy, this is one of the most beloved actions in the eyes of Allah. This is a hadith that we get from our fourth Imam. And when we look at our lives, we get a lot of opportunities to do this, to be able to, alhamdulillah, we live in a community, a very tight-knit community, and there's a lot of opportunities for us to make the mu'mineen around us happy. Again, when you look at the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt, you see how this is a very important and central concept to the Imams. Once, for example, a person from Ahwaz, a city in Iran, he comes in the presence of the sixth Imam just to highlight how idkhalus surur is important, making the mu'mineen happy. So this person from Ahwaz, he comes in the presence of the sixth Imam in Medina, and he says to the Imam that, oh Imam, I'm in trouble, I'm struggling and I need your help. The Imam says, how can I help you? He says, I'm from Ahwaz, and unfortunately it so happens that the governor in Ahwaz has put some taxes on me, and it seems that there's been a mistake. I'm a poor person, I shouldn't be taxed. He's taxing me, but maybe there's a mistake. So Imam says, how can I help you? He says that the governor of Ahwaz is a lover of yours. If you say something to him, maybe he might be able to look into the case. So Imam says to him, do not worry. He asks for a pen and paper, and in the paper he writes 2 sentences. 2 sentences only. Imam Asad writes, he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Surru akhaka yasurruka Allah. Surra akhaka yasurruka Allah. Make your brother happy, Allah will make you happy. The Imam writes this in a paper and says to him, take this to the governor of Ahwaz. So this person returns to Ahwaz, he comes to the governor, and when he finds a time when the governor is free, he says to him that this is a message that has come from Imam Asad. The governor takes the letter, he recognizes the handwriting of his Imam, he kisses it, opens it, and he reads the letter, and he says that reads that the Imam is saying to him, make your brother happy, Allah will make you happy. This person, the governor, turns to the farmer and he says to him that, what's the matter? How can I make you happy? What's happened? He explains to him and he says that, look, I have been taxed 10,000 dirhams. I do not have enough money. If I was able to even find this money, I won't be able to survive. So it seems like there's been some sort of mistake. If you can look into this. He calls his people and they bring the books and he looks into it. He says that, look, your name has already been registered over here. However, I will help you out anyway. He turns to him and he says that, I will take out from my own pocket, not from Baytul Mal. From my own pocket, he takes out 10,000 dirhams and he says that here, you don't need to pay anything, it's sorted. And then, interestingly, he asks him, Hal sarartuka? Have I made you happy? The person says, Na'am, ju'iltu fadak. May I be sacrificed for you, made me very happy. The person doesn't stop here. This is the lover of the Imam. Again, he says to him that, next year, your taxes as well, on me. Sorted, you don't need to worry about it. He says, really? He says, yeah, sorted. I'm paying your next year's taxes. Again, he turns to him, Hal sarartuka? Have I made you happy? Person is overjoyed. He says, yes, na'am. Again, ju'iltu fadak. May I be sacrificed for you, made me very happy. It doesn't end here. He says that this carpet, this expensive carpet that you and I are standing on which you brought this letter of my Imam for me, this is yours, a gift for you. Hal sarartuka? Again, yes, very much, you've made me happy. He says to his people, give him an animal, a horse or a camel. Give him an animal and let him take it as a gift. If today someone was to gift you a car, this is the equivalent of that. At that time, Camels were expensive. He says, gift him a camel. Again, turns to him, Hal sarartuka. He says, very much so. You made me very happy. Thank you very much. And finally, he says to him, if you need anything at all, come to my presence and I will help you out, inshallah. This companion, this person, this farmer, he leaves. It just so happens that after a while, he gets the opportunity to come in the presence of the sixth Imam again in Medina. He comes to the Imam and he begins to narrate to the Imam. He says to him that, oh Imam, you know that companion of yours, that lover of yours, the governor of Ahwaz, is an extremely amazing person. Imam says, why? What happened? So he starts narrating to him. He says, he did this for me, and he did this for me, and he did this for me. And as he is narrating, he sees that the Imam is getting happier and happier and happier. By the end, he turns to Imam and says, oh Imam, he did all of these things for me. Why is it that you are getting happy? The Imam says to him that you don't understand. Before he has made you happy, لَقَدْ سَرَّ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولَهُ. He has made Allah and His Messenger happy. By making you happy, by helping you out, He has made Allah and the Messenger of Allah happy. Again, highlighting the importance of this point, idkhalus surur. The Imam said, Imam Sajjad is telling us, Inna ahabbal a'mal in the eyes of Allah, ilallah, idkhalus surur al mu'mineen. Making the mu'mineen happy is one of the most beloved actions in the eyes of Allah. Our relationship between each other as mu'mineen needs to be like this as well. One more incident, inshallah, then we'll move into Masail. About 100 years ago, one of the Maraja of his time, by the name of Akhund Khurasani. Marhum Akhund Khurasani is a famous marja of his time. In fact, his book, Kifayatul Usul, is still studied by Hawza students up until today in the Hawza, in the higher levels of Hawza. When we want to study the principles of jurisprudence, when we want to study Usul, his book is studied. So Marhum Akhund Khurasani, a famous marja of his time, one night, a person comes to his door in the middle of the night and knocks on his door. As he opens the door, he sees that there's a young student of the Hawza, a young student who's come in his presence. He says to him, what's the matter? How can I help you? He says, I'm sorry for troubling you. I know it's the middle of the night. I wouldn't do this, but my wife is in labor. She's about to give birth, and we're in need of a midwife, somebody who'd come and help with the labor process. It just so happens that your maid who lives with you, the maid, the old lady, she knows the address of a midwife. So if I can just trouble you, if you can just summon her, ask her where the address is of the midwife, and then inshallah I'll be on my way and I won't be troubling you anymore. Akhund Khurasani turns to him and he says to him that, look, the maid is asleep and she's tired. It's the middle of the night. I do not wish to disturb her. However, I know where the address is as well. Let me accompany you and I'll take you there. Now again, imagine this is a marja of his time, an old man. Look at how he responds to the situation. Idkhalus surur, this is what we're speaking about. He says to him, let me accompany you. He puts on his robe, he takes his lantern, and they start walking in the streets of Najaf. As they're walking, they finally reach this house of the midwife. They knock on the door, she comes out, and the three of them go together to the house of this student. The student turns to Akhund and he says to him that, look, you've helped me enough till here. From this point on, we've got it. You can go. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for having disturbed you in the middle of the night. You can go now. Look at what he says. He turns to him and he says that, do not worry, I'm here, I'm here. You go inside, I'm here, I'm here. He goes inside, Akhund sits over there outside, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it takes for the delivery. Once the baby is born, the father, the young student, he comes outside and he's overjoyed and he says to him, thank you so much. You stayed over here. Akhund, like a loving father, stands up, comes to him, he embraces him, congratulates him, and then he takes out an envelope from his pocket which he had taken with him from home. In it there's money and he gifts it to him. He says, this is for you. Idkhalus surur ala qalbil mu'min. When you want to make a mu'min happy, we take lessons from these scholars. These are role models for us. The Ahlul Bayt are role models. Our Maraja are role models as well. This is an old man in the middle of the night. But idkhalus surur is a central concept of Islam, which you see over here. It's an important thing to him. And this is how he shows it. Like I mentioned, as a community, alhamdulillah, we make a lot of strives in welfare in different places to help out. But sometimes what tends to happen is that even though we live communally, we live as a community and society, we think individually. We live in a community, but we think individually. I have an opportunity to help someone out. I have an opportunity to help my neighbor. I have an opportunity to help a mu'min, to make the mu'min happy. But if it means that it's going to hurt my pocket, then sorry, samahani. Again, when we look at the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt, this is something that we take and we learn. Idkhalul mu'min is one of the most beloved actions in the eyes of Allah, the Imam is teaching us. But tonight, as we mentioned, is the night of the shahadat of our Imam, our Gharib Imam, the Imam who, on a night like tonight, his grave, take your hearts to Medina for a second, his grave stands alone with not even a candle on it, let alone visitors. The Imam's grave is all alone on a night like tonight. Let us call out to our Imam all together, inshallah, and do tawassul to the Imam on a night like tonight so that we can benefit from his teachings, inshallah. Ya Abul Hasani, Ya Ali ibn al-Husayn, Ya Zain al-Abidin, Ya ibn Rasulillah, Ya Hujjat Allahi ala khalqih, Ya Sayyidana wa Mawlana, Inna tawajjahna wastashfa'na wa tawassalna bika ila Allah وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. All together. يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. Tonight, on a night like tonight, beg your tears, say to them, "O my eyes, O my tears, a whole life I have lived listening to you. You said to me, look at this thing and that thing, and I obeyed your commands. But just for tonight, O my eyes, I want you to cry for my Imam." The month of Muharram is coming to an end. How much have we taken from the Ahlul Bayt? Tonight, come with me and help me cry for my Imam. The eye that does not shed tears for Hussein has no value. I know, Allah, that my heart has hardened, that my sins have held me down, but help me to soften my heart by crying for Hussein. But oh Allah, tonight we want something different from you as well. We've all heard the Imam says, "Man zara al-Husayn kama zara Allah fi arshih, kama zara Allah fi arshih." The person who visits Hussein, it's as if he has visited Allah himself. Oh Allah, we ask you tonight, grant us Karbala. Our hearts long to be in the presence of Hussein. Arba'een is nearby. O Allah, grant me the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah. With this little tawassul, let us go to the door of Zainul Abidin. The Rawi says, when Imam Zainul Abidin attained Shahadat, Imam al-Baqir prepares to give him ghusl. He draws the curtain and he begins to give him ghusl. But as he's giving him ghusl, just like when Amirul Mu'mineen was giving ghusl to Zahra, all of a sudden they hear the Imam begins to start crying. The ghusl finishes. The Rawi says, a time later I come in the presence of the Imam. I ask him, O Imam, why is it that you began crying in the middle of your ghusl? The Imam says to him, by God, even after 35 years, the marks of chains were still present on the neck and the feet and the hands of my father. Ibn Qulaway in Kamil al-Ziyara, he says that the servant of Imam Zainul Abidin, he hears him crying in his sajda. He comes to the Imam and he says to him, O my Imam, Ama ana lihuznika an yanqadi. O Imam, is it not time that you stop crying now? You've cried enough. But a long time has passed from Karbala. Is it not time now that you stop crying? The Imam says to him, he turns to him and says, Wallah, laqad shaka Ya'qub ila rabbihi fi aqall ma ra'aytu. By Allah, Ya'qub would cry and cry for Yusuf until he lost his eyes for something that was much less than what I had to witness on the plains of Karbala. Let me add over here, when they brought the shirt of Yusuf to Ya'qub, he knew that they were lying. Ya'qub alayhi salam must have thought to himself, what a kind animal, what a generous animal, that even though it attacked Yusuf, it had enough kindness in it to leave his shirt on him. But may I be sacrificed for you, O Hussein, that when Zainab came to you and she saw you in that situation, down on the ground she cried out, Ya Muhammadah, هذا حسينك مرمل بالدماء. This is Hussein who is drenched in blood. مقطع الأعضاء. His body parts have been severed. مسلوب العمامة والرداء. O cowards, O enemies, just how wretched you must be to leave Hussein without even a cloth on him. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ماتم يا حسين. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. मज़लूम का कुंबा जब शाम को पहुँचा, आबिद का था नौहा लो आ गया बाज़ार. मज़लूम का कुंबा जब शाम को पहुँचा, आबिद का तनोहा लो आके. ये सोच के रोता हूँ माँ बहने खुले सर है, किस तरह से देखूँगा
जो सामने मंजर है नेज़े पे है एक सर, रोता है जो अक्सर, करता है जो नौहा, लो आ गया बाज़ार मज़लूम का कुंबा, जब शाम को पहुंचा आबिद का था नौहा, लो आ गया बाज़ार। बाजू है बंदे मेरे, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता, बोचार है पत्थर की, हम सब है रसन बास्ता, है खून का दरिया जो सर से है बहता, हंसते हैं ये आदा, लो आ गया बाज़ार मज़लूम का कुंबा, जब शाम को पहुंचा आबिद का था नौहा, लो आ गया बाज़ार। और शिमर ये आबिद से किस फख्र से कहता है, पर्दा तेरी ज़ैनब का नेज़े से उतारा है, क़ुव्वत है ये मेरी अहमद की नवासी को शाम में लाया, लो आ गया बाज़ार मज़लूम का कुंबा, जब शाम को पहुंचा आबिद का था नौहा, लो आ गया बाज़ार मेरी भूखी अम्मा, रोती है बेपर्दा, लाखों का है मजमा, लो आ गया बाज़ार, लो आ गया बाज़ार। अल्लाह अल-फातिहा।
वजह से अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूलल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या अमीरुल मुमिनीन, अस्सलामु अलैका या फातिमतुज़ ज़हरा सय्यदती निसाइल आलमीन, अस्सलामु अलैका या हसनल मुज्तबा व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुह, अस्सलामु अलल हुसैन व अला अली इब्न अल हुसैन व अला औलादिल हुसैन व अला अस्हाबिल हुसैन जमीअन व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुह। السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا قائما منتظر المهدي، أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.